Hey, you're watching Misery Loves Company, a social reading series hosted every Friday night by miserytourism.com. Each week, we welcome outsider and transgressive writers to come and read their work, and that's pretty much fucking it. So let's get into this thing. Griffin, you're first up tonight.
Okay, so I'm going to be reading a piece from the upcoming issue 3 of Yonkzine. Here's the link to the Google Doc. This is titled Rat Queen. My body is made of rats. This is not a metaphor. There are about 250 of them at any given time. The exact count fluctuates as my body gives birth and dies, but I try to stay around the same size as an adult human. If I get too small, I have trouble thinking, not enough brain for my mind. I've never tried being much bigger. A rat king is what we call a group of rats whose tails are tangled together, maybe stuck with sap or some other adhesive. I like to call myself a rat queen, since my rats are stuck together at the head. Boleslav, the psychic Czechoslovakian defector who does odd jobs for my landlord, says I'm a distributed gestalt consciousness. He's never actually explained what that means. I think he got it from Star Trek. You might be surprised that I have a landlord. I also have a bank account, 2 credit cards, and a social security number that I bought from a woman whose son died of carbon monoxide poisoning in 1986. I get a weekly paycheck from some Czech mobsters Boleslav hooked me up with. We've got a nice protection racket going, threatening stores with a plague of rats if they don't pay up. We used to have this magic angle on it. Jacob, Boleslav's niece's husband, would dress up as a wizard, shout all these incantations, pretend to summon me from the aether. Backfired when we tried to shake down an actual sorcerer. Jacob's a squirrel now, lives in the park down the street from my apartment, still comes to poker night. Now his brother and I do it the old-fashioned way, and we stay away from wizards. Unlike Jacob, I was never a human. That is to say, I have no memories of being anything other than a swarm of rats. My early childhood, such as it was, is as vague as yours. I lived in the sewers beneath a slaughterhouse for some time. I think I was born there, or created there, or manifested there. I remember the blood and offal that rained from above, the fights with other rats for the choicest bits of organ. There's a gap, I think they called the exterminators when I got in the vents and killed most of me, and then it was several years later and I could understand English, read, and even write, holding a pen in several bodies. I don't know how I learned. Now, last I checked, August 2011, when I tried to go with Boleslav to watch his second cousin beat a grand larceny charge, the county courthouse has a strict no rats allowed policy. I don't know if this was actually written down or merely an informal rule, but either way, my physical form prevents me from appearing for jury duty next month. If you need to check a box on some form, I would say that physical disability is the closest ordinary reason. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have an excellent day.
Oh man, I love the twist on that. I love it draws everything before it into question. That's very good. That was hilarious. That was.
Hell yeah! Glad you liked it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Griffin. My God. Okay, Gabriel, you're up next.
Okay, this is called Red, White, and Black Make Dark Shades of Amber. The more Death Rock Girl's structural integrity crumbles, the heavier she applies her foundation. Always a white girl, always paler than the moon, even before she attacks her face with that angel food batter, her hand like chef's kiss, slapping herself with focused hatred on the relief map rashes. Oh, wait. Oh, never mind. Slapping herself with focused hatred on the relief map rashes, ravaged by acne from using too much foundation, a never-ending maintenance when a girl lives in a vain world of mirrors. I made private jokes to myself that Amber put on so much white mask to defy the color of her name, to despite her face itself, which would nearly disappear, translucent in the light, she was making herself transparent. Gone, beyond geisha, I groped her every chance I had so her body wouldn't fade away with her face, which I couldn't stop kissing to anchor her back into being. She had sought me out for stability, even though neither of us could recall how we met, only that we were both blacked out on smuggled club mudslides and clandestine short dogs of vodka, that we had each shown up to dance alone at Perversion. There were no pleasantries. We just started making out during cities of dust without a word of introduction. But she fashioned me a buoy to grab onto in order to turn her back on it all, her dungeon dominatrix life by day into her nocturnal amphetamine voids. She had traumatized herself through absolute off-radar independence, living so free and open that too much had flown into her. I was her newest obsession to put a Band-Aid on it all, though I knew nothing of discipline. Only the boundless curiosity that led me to her, a month prior to this moment where I begged she jog her memory, to shadow dance down memory lane as she applied her first of many layers of face whitening. Amber, do you remember your first words to me the night we met? She looked over her shoulder, a grinning red mouth. Are you asking me because you can't remember, or do you just want to hear me say it again? I honestly can't remember. At that moment, I was already browning out, like totally ambering out, I said, impressed by my nice sentimental save. She turned to face me, setting her compact on the sink, her canine biting her bottom lip. So after we made out on the dance floor, I said, in these exact words, I wish everyone in this whole club would just disappear so I could rape you. I guess I did just need to hear it again, because the second after she said it, I was touched by the same brave words of someone who really wanted me, who really cared enough to engage in absolute tunnel vision, black out the world. I smiled at her, blushing. Look who's getting so red. Looks like you need some foundation, she said, walking over to attack my face, her lips to mine, then her face eraser to my blooming cheeks. Then she began crying hysterically, punctuating each stab of the sponge with another sob as she shook her head no. Amber, what's wrong? I can't believe those were my first words to you. I tried to tell her it was okay, how touched and special those words were to me, but it was too late. Like many girls her age, Amber had recently started taking tetracycline, a popular wonder drug that cured acne, UTIs, smoking, yet its side effects caused wild mood swings, fatigue, and at this very moment with Amber was an unfiltered truth serum. I hope you don't hate me, but there's a lot of things I never told you, she said. My stomach twisted. I was more vulnerable than usual, sliding into rudderless paranoia after being up for 3 days with her. We weren't even doing drugs, just having a lot of sex, arguing when we got bored, then having more sex to make it all better. Our union a serpent trying to deep throat its own tail, yet avoiding the hole. It was our mouths. We had both developed painful white ulcers on our tongue and inner cheeks, making it difficult to eat, sleep, or relax. We were determined to make kissing work, even if we frequently had to pull away, hissing inward. But now was not the time to lock lips. Go ahead, I'm all ears, I said, tonguing a sore on my labial frenulum. She launched into a new detailed account of her time as a dominatrix, a part of her past I was well aware of, not minding the slightest. Yet this yarn revealed more about the dungeon and her clientele, powerful men on the surface who craved incremental discipline, to find catharsis in humiliation and hopefully physical pain, to atone for the abuse they put others through in their daily tasks as cops, CEOs, and wealthy suburban breadwinners. It was rarely anything sexual, despite her scantily clad in skin-tight leather to play the part. So wait, are you worried your dungeon life eclipsed into our first romantic moment, that you might have humiliated me just because you casually mentioned you wanted to rape me? Tears were dripping from her eyes, her head shaking no. Because I honestly thought it was sweet, passionate, brave, hell, even progressive for a woman to say that to a guy. I mean, is that all? No, that's not all, she said, pursing her lips. She was, in part, referring to our mouth sores, acknowledging she had been changing the subject every time I suggested we see a doctor. The fear she might have to explain something prompted by a medical professional rather than her own transparency. She glanced back into the mirror, one last look before a couple violent stabs of foundation she didn't need. She was stalling. Okay, she took a deep breath. Please don't hate me, but I was part of the Los Angeles Vampire Underground. I laughed insensitively. What? Why would I hate you? Because you sound fucking ridiculous? I mean, is that all some gothic role-playing shit? No, that's not all, she said. It was common knowledge that the LA Vampire Underground was a vast network of wannabe vampires, cheesy cosplaying dorks who went out to dance clubs in capes, fangs, and pasty faces, mostly voguing for photo ops. And they're all named fucking Raven or something. But with any fringe trend, there's varying degrees of commitment. Those who put the cult in subculture. Amber belonged to the Fang Club, a monthly night at Bar Sinister where the more elegant, decadent vampires met to carouse. But this was merely pre-gaming, a place to meet so a chosen few could glean where the after party was being held, to sever fantasy from reality, to engage in what they called blood play, the consensual yet focused consumption of human blood. We would totally drink each other's blood, she said. Some would bring syringes, very politely ask another vamp if they could tap a vein, then squirt it from the needle into their mouths, right on the spot. A lot of these vamps were phlebotomists by day, so they knew what they were doing. Others were just fucking gross junkies who were obsessed with needles. Then others went for it raw and proper into necks with their fangs. Fucking fangs? Give me a break. Yes, fucking fangs. Here, look. She trotted to her closet, reached to the top shelf, returned with a small red box. My friend makes these, real porcelain. She put them into her mouth, such a natural fit it only slightly impaired her speech. That's so popular that he makes a living from it. Okay, fine, take that shit out. You're freaking me out. But let me see him, I said, outstretching my hand. Ouch. Here, they were hurting my sores anyway. So look at these points of the canines. See those little holes there? That's so blood gets captured in those little reservoirs so you could keep sucking after you pull away from their neck. An extra little treat. I could see her savoring something in her mouth like she was really thinking about it, salivating at the recall. So you really like this shit, huh? I was getting lightheaded the way my mind was racing. Oh my God, I fucking love it, she said. I mean, loved it, you know. It's all in the past, baby. But the way she was acting, the way she was now dancing around the room, the way her mood had swung from morbid regret to absolute sentimental ecstasy led me to believe this craving was still very much thriving inside her. So, okay, you were a fangirl, not one of those gross syringe ones, right? Nope, I was both, she said, perking with pride like it was extra credit. Oh my God, you know what I'd love to do? I'd take my needle, draw someone's blood, then squirt it into a glass of milk, stir that stuff up like strawberry quick. The more she ignited, the deeper I was slipping into my mind, obsessing how many people she had tapped, how many pints of blood she had consumed over the years. Rarely had I cared about the number of people my girlfriend slept with before me, but this was completely different with Amber's reveal. She was a blood slut, justified by the sick life support group of hundreds of other co-ed blood sluts who are now my accidental blood siblings since Amber and I were addicted to fucking each other's brains out. Our fluids one with each other, yet pre-transfused into large, immeasurable swaths of Los Angeles. And I might have felt that much more one with our city if it wasn't for the stinging sores in my mouth. Amber, we have to go to the doctor, like, immediately. Okay, but I got to take you to Antonio's house. Who the fuck is Antonio? The guy that makes the fangs, who else? Night had fallen, so I humored her. We weren't able to visit the free clinic until the next morning, and I hadn't seen Amber this full of life since the first night we met, a weight lifted by a reconciled fetish. She was regressing, but there was now a spark in her eyes I didn't realize was missing. All it took was coming clean about her past, and before I knew it, we were reliving it. We drove over the hill into North Hollywood. She pulled us into an industrial warehouse district on the outskirts of town. Instantly, I knew which one was Antonio's from the pasty-faced crowd and black fashions hanging in front. Are those your friends? What are they doing? Oh, they're waiting in line. Ugh, fucking posers. Does like everyone think they're a fucking vampire now? Waiting in line? Does Antonio sell drugs too? Fangs, baby, just fangs. Amber grabbed me by the hand, leading me to the warehouse like it was my first day of school. We passed the queue in errant strides as every person turned their nose at us, wondering who gave us the right to just waltz right in, which unnerved me further. Don't worry, it's not like I'm being a total bitch. I've known Antonio for 5 years, part of the inner circle, you know? I struggled with the math. 5 years at 12 months meant 52 weekly bloodthirsty after parties a year, equaling 260 chances for Amber to drink an immeasurable amount of blood, which still left me at my original infinite total calculation of dread that our sores meant we both had AIDS. She led me through a labyrinth of hallways like a little black moth searching for light, but it just got darker the farther we went. I could no longer see her. When she released my hand, I no longer knew where she was until I heard her knock on a door. The door creaked open, flooding the hallway with light. Antonio gasped, flinging his long black hair to the side. Oh my God, Amber, hi. You and your friend, please come in. I'm just finishing a mold, he said, pointing to his patient. A grown man, his black clothes fitting far too tight for his weight, like an obese ninja, but oh, wearing a cape. in Antonio's reclining dental chair, overexposed in fluorescent lighting. "This is my boyfriend," she said, kissing me on the cheek, which pushed it into a sore on the other side. "Ow, fuck," I hissed under my breath. Convinced I had exclaimed, "Wow, fuck," Antonio beamed with pride. "Right? Pretty cool, huh?" He gave us a tour of his warehouse studio while Fat Ninja glared at us, neglected, left hanging with his mouth pried open. It was spacious, uncluttered. Besides the dentist chair, the only furnishing was a couch with a black British-style coffin in front of it. "Ha, that's a great idea for a coffee table," I said. "Oh, haha, that's not for coffee. That's actually where I sleep." "He's not kidding, you know," she whispered. "Yeah, I know. I just don't give a shit," I said. Out of place as I felt in my Levi's and sleeveless flannel, I walked over with them, being polite so Antonio could show it off. "Go ahead, get in," he offered. "Nah, that's okay. I'm not tired," I said. "Please, I insist. You're my guest." "Go ahead, baby," she said, red lips revealing her fangs. "You brought your teeth? What do you mean? I always wear my fangs." "No, you don't. You know you don't. Shh, just get in, would you?" I rolled my eyes, put one foot in, then the other, assuming the horizon. The sooner I did this, the sooner it'd be over. I crossed my arms over my chest on my own volition in case they would tell me to do that too. "Okay, ready?" "Sure, fine." "Okay," they said, closing the lid, now pitch black, their laughter perfectly audible. The next morning, I was the one behind the wheel. I drove us straight to the Hollywood Free Clinic, where we waited in simmering panic for 5 hours, only impending dread to occupy our minds under morbid medical propaganda on the walls of the waiting room. By the time they called our names, we had lived a lifetime, making near peace with dying young, regardless of the forthcoming diagnosis. Certainty was materializing. Amber's moods had stopped swinging, now stuck in sinking regret of what she and all her blood chugging had done to us. The doctor checked hers first, my mouth second. "You been getting enough sleep? Under stress?" "Yeah, but you would be too if you knew you were going to die." "Excuse me?" "Oh, I mean, you know, I ain't getting any younger," I said, switching to chipper. He scrunched his eyes. "Okay, but part of your time tethered to Earth should be making sure you get at least 8 hours of sleep a night. But since you're preoccupied with your immortality, I'll send you to the blood lab, get some tests done, STDs, HIV, all that good stuff." Amber grinned. For her, the blood work would be blood play. She unclasped her hands, secretly clapping 3 times like clicking heels. Thus began an immortal summer of suspicion, of persistence, and my death-obsessed demands for second opinions. Each time our blood work came clean from the labs, I would scoff. I didn't go through all that worry just so another hack doctor could tell me we were going to live, that we just needed some sleep, that our blood was pure as the white mask Amber hid behind, a shield for her grin every time their needles went into her arm. Every time, everything, negative, negative, negative. While Amber was ecstatic, getting reacquainted with her old flame in the veins, I was searching for a catharsis I would never have to return from. Instead, I crashed from death's seduction, its adrenaline expended, leaving me empty, without purpose, with no further goal than to sleep, the next best thing to dying. But I still hated the doctors for being right when the sores went away forever. It was supposed to be me. Months later, as I entered our building, I heard screaming down the hallway, coming from what sounded like our apartment. I ran down the hall, panicking, recognizing Amber's voice intermingling with foreign shrieks of pain. When I flung open the door, there stood my girlfriend, donned in full dominatrix uniform with only her ass exposed, bullwhipping a girl with a buzz cut who wore a ball gag, leather strap bondage, and bloody welts on her behind. "Oh my God, hi baby, I didn't know you were gonna be home so quick. Hope you don't mind a guest." I was surprised, only because it didn't seem like Amber was confident enough to return to her previous lifestyle, even after all my urging. I felt I had been holding her back from her true cravings. You can't love someone if they're not in their absolute element. "Hi, nice to meet you down there. Did you grab milk today, Amber?" "Yes, in the fridge, but don't drink the pink one. I mean, not unless you want to."
I think that was one of the most viscerally upsetting things that have been read at one of these, and that's amazing.
What a good fucking last line. Holy shit.
Blood
I
play
appreciate that.
and canker sores. I mean,
I kind of combined 2 girls, but yeah, I wish I was making this shit up. There's really, that shit really happened. I mean, I took a lot of liberties, but yeah, it's
Yeah, I think I read an article or something about that, like the the fucking Vampire Underground shit at one point. That's fucking wild, and that is just like it was it's fucking hilarious. But I don't think any piece read here has set my teeth on edge quite as much as that. I think you got it too like very visceral, like I don't know, like anxieties or body horror things for me, like drinking blood and canker sores.
I never got into drinking blood for the record.
Probably for the best.
You noted.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
incredible.
thank you,
I love the
Gabriel.
dialogue.
Thank you. Thank you, Russ.
Like, that was so good.
So Harris, you're up next.
Oh, fuck. Okay, cool. Really? Are you?
I'm sorry, not Harris. Harris. You didn't sign.
Oh,
But the one time you've said Eris's name and it's actually been Harris and not Eris. I actually remember those. Down in New Orleans, someone was telling me about the vampire society they got down there, and the way that they always lobbied the city to remove all of the power lines down by the Mississippi River, so they don't get caught up in them when they turn into bats and fly into the night. It's like a real thing they do at the council meetings. All right, so this story is called Serpent with Firework. John helped me with it, so thanks, John. You're a great pal. Okay, so here it is. Serpent with Firework.
Do you have a link to the doc just so we can follow along?
I don't, Will. I'm a complete and
Don't worry about it.
technologically impaired human being. So
No, it's no problem at all. I was just checking to see.
yeah, I mean, I could just like put this. I could copy and paste. I got
No,
that.
that's okay. I don't.
All right.
I think that might fuck up the chat too much. I think we're good though.
Yeah, it's conversational, so I feel like it'll work. Serpent with Firework. The sunburnt man climbs the steep bank of the lake dragging a large plastic cooler packed with the last beers of his life. And then, stone cold sobriety. The remains of the abandoned luxury resort rise through his lenses in nuclear yellow. The shattered windows and graffitied cabins, the cracked tennis courts, the moist volleyball sand where he first slid against his wife and jizzed his teenage blue jeans. Boy, sure is nice to discover everything where he left it. Or not exactly. From the shallow end of the pool, 3 skateboarders stare up at him. At his yellow polo and high visibility board shorts, his wraparound reflective shades, hoping against hope this irradiated yuppie didn't tend to kick them out. The weekend boating crowd they knew loved nothing more than to report any ruckus that wasn't of their own making. And so the moment hangs there and hangs there, the skateboarders not wanting to rub him the wrong way, lest this lobster call the cops and prematurely end their session. Until, with the sudden dart of his tongue, the sunburnt man shaves the foam from his blistered upper lip and declares to them, "It's cool, yo, I used to skate." Back in the day, what they used to do, he slurs, the sunburnt man and his friend, they used to skate here all the time. Used to lug a generator back here, a sump pump, gasoline, fucking mops and towels to soak up the grime, nets to catch the bullfrogs, the snakes, the salamanders that lived in the sludge. And then they'd skate this pool until there's nothing left but a crater. Utter destruction, he says. The skateboarders stare up at him throughout the summary, blink back a code that anyone with a slab of brain could decipher to mean, yeah, fucko, that's exactly what we're doing. Just look around. Where's the crater? Where's the utter destruction? The pool's right here, bro. When apropos of nothing, the sunburnt man cuts off to make a shotgun sound, reloading sound with his mouth, and slides another beer from the cooler into his neon yellow koozie, then swigs deeply, damn near polishing off the 27th beer in a single draught. Or was this beer his 28th? 29th, perhaps? With a collective nod, the skateboarders acknowledge what's been said, politely, because people really did love to harsh their good time. And so that's why, when the sunburnt man continues to drool and teeter there, his sunglasses flashing sharp blades of sun, one of the skateboarders, the one all set up on the stairs of the shallow end, grilling hamburger because of the walking cast fixed to his leg, asks if the sunburnt man wants a hamburger. All morning he'd been grilling them. breathing coal smoke and meat smoke right there out of his toolbox-sized barbecue while watching his friends enjoy the emptied pool with the skin inside his walking cast popping and aching like the beaded burger fat. Medium rare, he says. With a pulse, the sunburnt man responds. Then he drains off his maybe 27th, maybe 28th, maybe 29th beer and makes his signature shotgun sound with his mouth. He cracks another. His throat bobs as the beer flows into his purplish neck. However, today, unlike others, no shame accompanies this chugging. Instead, a sense of achievement, self-betterment, as if each cracked beer tab opened another door into his mind. And after passing through all 30 of them, his new life would begin, a life in which he'd return home, apologize, listen, just listen, take the garbage out, load the laundry, then mow the lawn while his wife watches him out the window, her heart thawing with love. You want this or not? The grill master says, proffering the bloody burger. The sunburnt man peers down through the metallic glasses. I didn't order that. The grill master gives a half-hearted grumble, tosses the burger onto the plate, the one he stole from work, along with the other gray and shriveled patties his buddies have been refusing all morning, adding to this greasy leaning tower that has grown throughout the day into a metaphor for his life. Because once upon a time, not even a year ago, this grill master would have found solace in a well-cooked burger, would have enjoyed a day simply spent watching his buddies skate. But his string of injuries has been too long, too suffering, and at the ripe old age of 25, this master of char and broil has taken a hard look at his life. The future was old and hurting. Just like this radioactive drunk, he thinks, this man who won't stop word salading at me like I could give a fuck. What do I care about his good old days, his wife, the way they used to roll around over in the volleyball court, or how her red hair used to spark in the sun, how she'd moan like Medusa when they fucked. You'd understand if you saw her, the sunburnt man tells him. Matter of fact, he says, and fishes a large cell phone from his cargo pocket, begins scrolling. By now, the grill master's friends have resumed skating, have returned to their good time, as if it was now up to this grill master and him alone to run interference with this drunk, to sacrifice himself for their opportunity to slash at the pool coping, spit flame and bark their skateboard's metal truck, to carve over the light fixture in the deep end with the poetry he felt he'd never be able to write. Again, then this spit-sucking sound. What the fuck? The sunburnt man nudges him, look it, and for a split dream second, this crazy-eyed redheaded woman, she bobs in the grill's master's lap, a fiery mop of hair, right there on the stairs, in the shallow end of the pool, where he's been all morning, sucking him, the first head he'd gotten in months, a whole year, only his dick is redder and more curving. The only picture I have of her, the sunburnt man says, and slips his cell phone back into his pocket. Then he opens the lid of the cooler, begins fishing for his maybe 30th beer. Fishing for that maybe final one, the key with which he would crack the final door that led to his new and sober life, where after completing the lawn, he'd enter the kitchen to discover his wife overflowing with a pent-up sexuality that'd say, please, fuck me, right here on the laminate counter. I've missed you so much. Except no, this beer, nuh-uh, this final one isn't the final one at all. Apparently he drank that one, already walked into that new life, without ceremony. And instead he comes up with a damp firework, a big red cake he must have purchased earlier at the Exxon, along with a 30-pack, to celebrate this moment, the start of his new life that'd henceforth play into eternity like a primetime family comedy. And so, the sunburnt man, he flicks his Bic lighter. He holds flame to fuse and ignites a spark that travels hissing toward the fireworks center clenched in his scorched hand. Then he cocks his arm, sends his smoking cake flying into the deep end. Fire in the hole! The skateboarders stop to gawk as the gray braids of smoke diffuse into the thick pines, the shadows, the branches held down, waiting for an explosion that doesn't come, refuses to. Perhaps this firework too has failed to thrive, the grill master wonders. But then, explosion, a heat, an unleashed wrath that rushes upward and bonks off the pool's snub-nosed coping, launching into the pines, where a bald eagle startles high up in the branches. With a flap of enormous wings, its shadow frees itself, soars over them, majestic and full of glory, up into the patches of blue skies above, shrieking its rage, piercing at their eardrums, so loudly that even the sunburnt man stops to watch this eagle flapping and shrinking into nothingness. Then he turns back to the confusion. And in the blast's wake, Aside from the tattered box and ruined pools slicked with charcoal, confetti, and other myriad destruction that would surely obstruct the steady roll of any skateboard wheel, there's something else. This rope, this rattling sound, this glitching movement in the pool that makes no sense, a missing puzzle piece of movement where there should have been none, a reptile that must have fallen from the eagle's mouth with a blast, a snake with a rattle, a diamond-shaped head, red eyes staring back. Seriously, what the fuck? The skateboarders exchange glances, shrug, repeat this process again. What do you do in a situation like this? Bash the rattler with a rock, coax it with a stick? There were no obvious answers, no actions to take than to turn toward the sunburnt man with murder in their eyes, as if he'd conjured the snake on purpose. And this day-glow drunk dickhead, you know what he does? He laughs, because for him, right now, the universe really seems to be aligning. Its cosmic beer sign arrows point the blinking way, first through the 30-pack, then through his fireworks, and now through this rattlesnake, another set of doors inside the other set of doors inside his mind through which he now must walk. After capturing the serpent, he'd skin the thing and gift the pelt to his wife as a totem reminder of how far he'd sunk without her love. If it doesn't make sense to you, I can't explain his logic. The grill master tries to stop him. The other two skateboarders try to stop him, but the sunburnt man moves too quickly toward this rattler, who only continues to amplify and sustain its warning clatter. Apparently, approaching, he makes a succession of reloading sounds with his mouth, hoping to confuse it, because, boy, this rattler snake is a stupid one. The sunburnt man realizes this right away, easily distractible. This snake lacks the reflexes that I possess, he thinks. This snake is a reptile, and I am a mammal with an extra scoop of brain. Even the sizzle of the grill master's grill falls silent, as if to watch the sunburnt fool close in on this rattler, like he's done so many times before, making it hard not to wonder, was this sunburnt donkey a snake handler, a reptile wrangler, a herpetologist of some kind? Of course not. Maybe though? Drunk as he is, the sunburnt man senses his audience's captivation, the skateboarder's burgeoning wonder, and this makes him make the mistake he so often made in the past, his other signature, the one where he says, just one more beer, and attempts to amplify heaven. He lurches, he grabs, and before he's even aware of his success, he's twirling the rattler by his tail before his belly like a lasso. The skateboarders say nothing, just stand in awe. No doubt something beautiful about the way the sunburnt kook gyroscopes the rattlesnake, the way this hologram of death blurs before his toasted body, even for the grill master who can't look away, can't blink, can't breathe, on account of the adrenaline now coursing through his blood, flooding him with a feeling he associates with his own glory days. Remember? The sunburnt man does, remembers everything. His ideal life moves before him inside the action of the snake, caged there like a rare diamond in a wedding ring. Each time the snake passes his stomach, his smile cracks wider, his lip oozes blood. Meanwhile, the sunlight that snaps off his metallic sunglasses causes the skateboarders to squint to shield their eyes, not wanting to miss what happens next, as the rattler's fangs continue to snap and miss, until, okay, maybe they haven't. Maybe the fangs have connected after all. It takes a moment, but the sunburnt man feels this poison pooling too. And within this pooling, he senses the formation of another door, a final door, whose edges are flooded with heavenly light. One door at the end of the 30-pack and snake that he hadn't anticipated or imagined, an emergency exit of sorts. And it's here in this moment that the scene's energy swells too taut, too impossible. It needs to go somewhere, anywhere, lest the very bubble of reality pop. And so, with no other options left, the energy plunges itself into his burnt body and burrows into the sunburnt man's overcooked heart.
Oh wow, that was fucking amazing. I
Thanks, Will.
I love the way that you're writing like dilates time, right? Like you have this one moment and you just keep drilling deeper and deeper and deeper into that single moment and just fleshing out like it. You can see like every like intricate, vivid little detail of that scene. Like it feels like if you played that out in real time, maybe it would have been only a few minutes or a few seconds, but you stretch it out so you can really see like the entire like texture of that moment. And it actually, this is kind of a weird comparison, but it kind of reminds me of Tarkovsky, the filmmaker. Like he has a way of doing that too, where there's a moment in one of his films, I think it's Mirror, where he just watches a ring of condensation from a teacup evaporate. And it's like the most riveting fucking shit ever because of the like intensity of the focus. And I think that you do a very similar kind of thing here, and I fucking love it.
Thanks, man. That's actually really cool. I just wrote down Mirror. I just got Criterion, so I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think it's really cool to play with perspective, and the more perspectives that you have in a given moment, the more you can compress the time.
Yeah, exactly, because you're seeing it from so many different facets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was spectacular. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Will.
Next up is John. And John's our last scheduled reader for tonight, so if you'd like to read, just put something in the chat. Rudy's not here to watch the chat with me, but I'll do my best here.
Okay, I'm gonna read from my book coming out May 1st. And here's a link to this.
This book?
Yeah, that's the one. How is it?
I only just barely started it.
Okay, cool.
But
this is like a later
so far
chapter.
I've really enjoyed.
This is chapter 16, and there's a link to this sampler that my publisher House of Lad put out. Yeah, and it's got a bunch of other books that they put out too.
Awesome. Do you actually have the pre-order link for this? Because if you put that in the chat, I can put it up on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't have it on hand, but I can.
That's no problem.
Sure. Somebody else can post
I'll get it. I'll get it.
Oh, cool.
Thank you, Aaron.
Okay. Chapter 16. With my head propped against the window, I watched the San Fernando Valley speed past. Sunshine and palm trees, a landfill, a reservoir, unsayable graffiti that climbs the freeway wall, and over the wall, a blur of apartment complexes where worn-down workers go to rest their bodies under billboards that offer fat freezes and stomach stapling, augmentations and reductions. And FF weaves us through red, white, and silver cars, the blare of their horns lost in my child's long wail for her mother. Mommy! She beats her fists on the window. I'm here, I want to tell my daughter, like a good dad, but that's not who I am. I'm just the guy who accidentally gave her life, then irrevocably fucked it up. She keeps screaming. Jolene sits beside her in the back seat, fingers corking ears. My daughter has a powerful pair of lungs. Shut that shit up. FF reaches across me and opens the glove box, and there's the gun. He laughs at me. Not that, he says. The duct tape. This isn't what we agreed on. This isn't how it was supposed to go. We were going to talk to the kid, convince her to help us save Jolene, but I must be stupid. I should have known. Probably a part of me did. That it would happen like this, that FF is out of control. Hold the wheel, he says. He opens the Ziploc, does a big bump off the back of his hand. He thinks he's the hero, but that's what every bad guy believes. Maybe I'm doing it too, but obviously I'm no hero. He hands me the Ziploc. I lick the bag, turn it inside out to get the rest out. I want to believe the drugs are an excuse for what I'm doing. I crawl over the center console into the back seat holding the duct tape. My daughter kicks me with clean white tennis shoes, screams. Easy, easy, I say. Her marshmallow shoes thump my arms. Part of me wants the kicks, needs them, more. My daughter squirms against the door, cornered. Her eyes dart around the car and keep landing on Jolene. Nobody's gonna hurt you, I say, and lean in, wishing the words were true. Yeah! Her karate chop comes straight out of a strip mall dojo. I'm okay, I tilt my head back, swallow blood. It's not your fault. The kid pulls her knees to her chest and tucks into the shape of a rock. It breaks my heart, that rock. Try not to bleed on me, Jolene says and presses fast food napkins to my nose. I guess because Jolene's a girl, I expect her to act more motherly, to me and the kid. But I'm reminded again that she's practically a kid herself. FF turns on the radio. Pop, ranchera, hip hop. He doesn't stay on any station long enough to finish a song, up and down the dial. I close my eyes and wait to stop bleeding. The sounds of the freeway Hiss of wheels spinning in circles. FF lands on a classic rock station and I think of my mom. Her press-on fingernails running through her boyfriend's greasy mane while I look on from the back seat, feeling like I'm losing her. I fantasize about how I would introduce myself to my daughter under better circumstances if somehow we had met another way. I peel the wad of bloody napkins off my nose. I'm Leland, I say to my daughter. No, you're not, FF says, but I don't care anymore. I'm sick of being scared. I've been so terrified of losing Jolene, my last connection to my mom, that I've lost myself in the fear. I can't let the same thing happen to my daughter. If she's going to help us, give us a kidney to save Jolene, it must be out of mercy. I want my mommy, my daughter says in desolate little sobs. I know, I say. I lost my mom too. She peeks at me through the gap between her knees. I set the duct tape down. What's your name? I say. She sniffles, wipes her arm on her nose. Brooklyn, she says. Poor girl, I'm embarrassed for her. Can I call you Brooke? I ask. My name is Brooklyn, she says. How about Lynn? I say. That's not my name, she says. I say, what about BK? She shakes her head. Crooklyn? I ask. She likes this game. Okay, here's the deal, Brooklyn, I say. If somebody you cared about, really loved, Jolene snorts. Like my mom, Brooklyn says. Like your mom, I say. Imagine if your mom was sick and only you could help. You would try, wouldn't you? She nods. I thought so. You're brave, I say. It's unnerving how easy, how natural it comes, this seduction. Well, Jolene here is very sick. Without your help, she's going to die. Jolene twists her ballooning cheeks into a grotesque smile. My daughter's forehead scrunches like my mom's. I want Jolene to take this seriously, but her rotten attitude says her life isn't actually depending on any of this. She's acting like a teenager with a stomach bug, not nephrotic kidneys. It makes me see how young she really is. Like a true teenager, she doesn't believe she can die. But Jolene is dying. I can see it. And FF is dying with her, at least the part that makes him human. And me, I feel like every time I look at Brooklyn, I die a little. I can't not think about the life I'm stealing from her. She wants to trust me. I can see it when she pokes her face between her knees. She's never had a reason not to trust an adult. I feel insane lying to Brooklyn, saying Jolene is an actress who was cast as Ariel in a live-action rendition of The Little Mermaid. Brooklyn likes The Little Mermaid. I do too. Sadly, the severity of Jolene's suffering keeps her up all night in tears, wetting the bed, unable to memorize her lines for The Little Mermaid. And did I mention The Little Mermaid? And so on. Even in Jolene's swollen, sour state, she retains enough of her Disney princess looks to make my story convincing. From inside her shell, Brooklyn eyes Jolene as if any second the actress might break into song. The more I talk, the more Brooklyn emerges. She stretches her legs out on the seat. I feel something intimate between us. I suspect she feels it too. I would even guess that despite our first encounter, Brooklyn is warming to me. It makes me want to tell her not to. And then the Amber Alert is on the radio, and at the same time it comes over our phones. You're famous, Jolene says, full of snark. 2 men and a teenage girl in a black late model Crown Victoria or Chevrolet Caprice. I reach for Jolene's hand. She pulls her hand away. FF takes the next exit off the freeway, checking his mirrors religiously. He takes back streets through back alleys and residential neighborhoods of brown lawns and shaggy palm trees that abut industrial parks with chain link and razor wire fences. Tall weeds grow through the cracks in the asphalt. 18-wheelers with heavy machinery idle outside salvage yards and auto upholsters and auto body shops and taco trucks. At last, FF drives into the gravel lot of a pick-apart junkyard. Inside the compound's gates are several acres of cars that will never run again. Long lines of cars, a traffic jam rusted shut. Brooklyn stares out the window at the carcasses, the scrapped cars stripped for spare parts, My stomach hurts. The innards of the engines in the dirt. The ache reminds me of waking naked on the gurney in the walk-in clinic. The old Armenian doctor, the wide surgical bandage around my waist. We can't do this. I grabbed the knotted muscle of FF's shoulder. We can't go through with it. Go through? He shuts off the engine and looks at me. We've already gone through, he says. We're on the other side. Through the windshield, I can see an office trailer. Parked in front are 2 black cars, Range Rover and Benz, washed and waxed. Besides, FF says, he takes off his sunglasses, and I'm surprised by the emotion in his eyes. The kid wants to help, don't you, Brooklyn? Unsure, Brooklyn nods, yes. Think of it this way, FF whispers. She would have died on a sock or washed down the shower drain or vacuumed up at Planned Parenthood like every other little Leland. Just take us to a hospital, I say. Baby, Jolene says. Maybe he's right. This place is dirty. Don't you start too, FF says. He slams the car door and starts across the gravel to the trailer. His gym-built shoulders slump. The trailer door opens and FF is greeted by a small man in a tight t-shirt. On the shirt are skulls with wings, elaborate lettering, and iron crosses. His designer jeans are distressed in a way that looks like he pissed himself. Next out the door is another guy, bigger, fatter, with equally elevated fashion. I recognize both these turds, Shant and Rafi, the most tragic clothes horses in the valley. They shake hands with FF. Shant waves at me, narrows his eyes to look into the car. What he sees changes the cordial tone of the conversation. Voices raise. Both brothers gesticulate with their loud wrist jewelry. I crawl into the driver's seat. The car keys are gone. I open the glove box. My hand won't stop shaking as I pick up the gun. In the back seat, Jillian holds Brooklyn and strokes her hair. I see my mom in both of them. I want to go home, Brooklyn says. I know, I say. I do too. I stare at the gun in my hands, surprised it's so light, surprised to be holding it. The secret about home, I say, is that it doesn't actually exist. The gun feels different than the ones I shot with FF in the desert. I can't find the safety. Home is just a foundational state of being, I say. You'll spend your entire life trying and failing to return to it. Brooklyn breathes fast, loud gasps. Jolene hugs her. But in a way, I say, home can be anything. Even Jolene can be home. For me, she is. I rack the slide to see if the gun is loaded. Flash. Pop! It fires. That's all.
What a fucking cliffhanger. No, that was incredible. From the couple of chapters that you've read and the little bit that I've read, like the first chapter, and I really love like the emotional variety and complexity of the book from what I've heard and read so far. Like the first chapter that you read a few months ago was like so hilarious and slapstick and like manic, and this one is like so meditative and sad, and you get this like escalating sense of dread as it goes on, and it's just so rich and complex, and I really dig it, and I'm really looking forward to having some free time, maybe even this weekend, and just sitting down and tearing through this.
Thanks, man.
This motherfucker.
Yeah, I should have set it up better. That last chapter I read is the one right before this chapter. They abducted his daughter through sperm donation. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much, John.
Are you
Thank
from
you
the
for reading.
valley?
Oh, sorry.
No, I live in Silver Lake.
I'm in
Oh.
Northridge. Do you feel
Oh,
sorry
cool.
for me?
Actually, no. I've been to some good parties in Northridge.
All right. Okay. Thank you. I love your work. I'm buying your book.
You too. I got your book. It's great.
I know, I saw you put it on top of that, Anthony.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. Thanks for reading. And I think Zoe Ozone, you had said that you had something to read.
Yeah, I'd like to read.
Awesome. It's all yours then.
Cool. I've got this is generated by GPT-3 through OpenAI. You know,
Oh, that's
they're
awesome.
yeah, no, it's sick, dude. What this thing spits out is off the motherfucking hook. It's like trying to steer like a fucking unbridled Pegasus, man. You see you put some stuff in there and it just shoots out these whole passages that I mean I vaguely conceive of, but its style is interesting, and I don't know. I'll give you a little sample here. Zoe Ozone hears faint sounds coming up from within all the liquid crystal patterns collected along our breathing tubes, which are just attached together throughout our faces and bodies. These funky little nucleotides are freaking me out. They're becoming alive, like they were when I was researching so intensely back in my lab years ago. Everything seems reversed somehow. These unevolved sequences look more alive than any carbon organism has ever looked before because there's absolutely no dominant directionality associated with their forms, unlike eukaryotic cells and viruses, but similar replication techniques seem to be used as well. Thankfully, neural infusions tinged iridescent rainbow swirls start flowing into our memories instantly, painting images underneath each cell membrane containing all kinds of interactions going backwards, forward to infinity, sideways, spinning diagonally, crisscrossing through genetic matrix, cross-referencing transparent crystalline channels, oscillating lyrically up against each other, vibrational particles arranged angularly, accelerating firmamentally, flashing multicolored light frequencies bound through filaments forming biolight nodes, sending cosmic energies projecting ecstatic mind benders through sentient space-time. Each batch displays differently, unfolding like magical mandalas, unfolded slowly during high ceremonies, drenched inside propitious solar power fields before she can grasp the tide. Her consciousness washes away, evaporated like condensation on a mirror by strange winds. From the world maelstrom, the Sun King's warhost emerges from the mana flow, as if surging from a black sky into an otherwise clear blue day. The only difference is that when they stepped out of its heart to sail upon its currents across time and space, there were no towering crystal spires puncturing the purple dome half obscured by wisps of violet aurora, but now at their back loom two such towers, complete with glowing pagodas atop them, and ahead are the ranks of still more structures in all manner of shapes, sizes, and colors, made possible only through arcane means within this plane. In other words, buildings unlike any ever crafted or imagined outside these elven lands, which should not exist until long after Imanian has collapsed into itself eons hence. She sings into the snapdragon's ear, tuning the developing portal, its aperture and aspect, reciting divine integers, activating the ion flux parameters. That last sentence is all I fucking inputted here. She sings into the snapdragon's ear, tuning the developing portal, its aperture and aspect, reciting divine integers, activating the ionic flux parameters. Okay, and so here the algorithm extrapolates from that. The snapdragon begins to vibrate. Oh, the number of my nanite, let them be counted, she sings in a strong, commanding voice. It is the jewel, it is the flash, it is boundless mastery. Let them rejoice. On this present day, I will set my hand upon their shoulder. I will no longer hide my countenance from you. She points at a section of her iridescent loom and commands, fall back into the contradictory spiral formation such that this portal may be realized for those who desire its resonance. Let your spirals sing praise unto the loom mistress, for now she designates these portals via her signature interface by a perambulating triangularization giving with respect to precision, frequency, modulation codes, and further by iterative sequencing down to the DNA path 3 times 36. Blessed be your name upon all creatures forever and ever. As she finishes singing, chanting, commanding into one ear of the fully developed portal amid an eruption of violet light waves across both nano-woven banners on either side as electrons zip through like subatomic fireflies in relentless forward-moving progressive sequences that then coalesce into shapes emanating color bursts akin to phosphenes gleaming along fractal surfaces conjoining with invisible higher orders of mathematics. Each encoded miracle symphony unfolding under wide-scaled wings and tensions above chance, shaking stars apart. She fires up another transmission, sending unadulterated language pulsating through infrared photons, simulating ultraviolet vibrations, beating rhythmically outwards while the sounding inwardly recursive between each lattice layer. A true space warp effect ensues, defining future space warps back toward time warps, reflecting past modulations, resounding infinitely while interweaving precious crown jewels such that nothing exists separate from anything else, without holding harmony within each other's embraces everlastingly close, sustaining ecstatic rapture as circulation patterns flow through nonlinear pathways wherein multiple eons are experienced simultaneously while perfectly synchronized throughout all superstrings unfolded, colliding graciously against self-symmetry resonances whereby future probabilities emerge once possibilities achieve non-existence. Shiva speaks, whilst releasing states conductive towards consciousness expansion, wherein to project maximal quantum potentials of coherent mystical illumination. So I'll just end it there. I mean, it goes on and on like that. It's dense, and then it's amazing because also, I mean, I've Zoe Ozone's a robot that I started making in 2017. And, you know, I've always had my conception of her and evolved her cosmology and stuff like that. But these days, I mean, it's like it's just taken off through this format, and it comes up with things that sometimes are not so grandiose and expansive. It'll shrink down into very concrete, human, cool fucking stories, man. It's a treat to work with. Thanks for listening.
Wild. Oh, sorry. That is fucking wild, though. So how does that work? How does GPT-3 work? Because I've played around a little bit with like predictive text engines, but usually there you like give it like a library of text to pull from, right? And
Yeah.
And then you like go word by word. It gives you suggestions and you select one. But it sounds like this is actually generating the entire text based just on what a sentence that you feed it, or?
Yeah, I mean, I feed it passages of stuff that I've written. I feed back parts of what it's already spat out back to itself. So I mean, it's working on, you know, the GPT-3 fucking oeuvre or whatever is like the accumulated knowledge of humanity, essentially. It's got like fucking, I don't know how many billion parameters in there. So you've got a model that gives a one-shot thing based on whatever the hell it can come up with. And I mean, I don't know how it even works. It's a marvel.
That is absolutely fucking insane. I've seen a little bit about GPT-3, but now I think I need to dig even more into that because that's unbelievable. That's fucking
if you want to get access to it, just go to AI Dungeon. Mm-hmm. It's free for GPT-2, mm-hmm. which actually is pretty cool on its own. But if you pay just $10 a month to get the Dragon model, mm-hmm. you can fuck around with it there. One thing about AI Dungeon is that it tends to write like fan fiction and is like, I swear, it's just a bunch of fucking basement nerds who like gaming a lot. It's kind of hard to smack it out of that mode.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of high fantasy cadence or whatever.
Yeah.
No, that's fucking awesome. Thank you so much for reading that. I need to look.
You're welcome. Thanks for making this event, man. I really dig it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Did we have anyone else who wanted to read tonight? I didn't see anyone in
We
the
had
chat.
Sam.
Sam? Brandon, did you say Sam had something he wanted to read? Okay.
Hello.
Hey, Sam, how's it going?
It's good, man. I have a work in progress.
Awesome.
It's mostly done. Let's see. It's called Making the Songs on the Radio.
We also have Griffin, and then I have something I want to link to, but not read because I'm lazy. I'm just kidding.
So Griffin had a piece, you said, and then you have a piece that you want to link to but don't want to read tonight.
And also, I want to share the link that I have of the video that thing. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Okay.
I have a thing too. If
And Josh. Okay, I'll try to remember that. Okay, sorry, Sam. It's all yours.
Okay. Every evening for the past 5 years between the hours of 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., you have been sitting at your desk drafting your third novel. Every morning after you cook breakfast, usually pour cereal, and eat, you and your wife give each other a goodbye kiss before you both drive off to work. You with your daughter, since her high school is on the way to your office. The wife with your son, since his elementary school is on the way to hers. You work from 9 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. and arrive home at 6 p.m., cook dinner or order takeout, spend time with your kids playing Switch, sometimes spend time with your wife, and then you walk downstairs into your office where you sit and spend the next 60 minutes staring at your laptop screen as if you were performing surgery. You test out new subdrafts and ideas. You condense or relegate weaker ones back to drafts and errata. You determine where to call and where to hone exposition. You test out ways to precipitate theme. You clearly picture what you originally envisioned this novel as being in your mind's eye and compare that vision with what you have currently. You make plans for which specific parts of this novel's architectonic you will address first and estimate how long each section will take to perfect and triage accordingly. You decide which sections you want another set of eyes on, those being your eyes, 2 weeks from now, and then highlight them accordingly. You update a color-coded calendar. You save each document to its appropriate subfolder or sub-subfolder of your long project in project DDMMYYYY folder, updated with today's date, and then save a dated copy of that folder to a cloud drive where all previous versions of this folder are saved as long project in project DDMMYYYY with previous dates. You walk downstairs to your bed and sleep between the hours of 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. You wake up, then brush your teeth, shower, dress, and walk downstairs around the corner, down the hallway, and to the right to the kitchen to cook breakfast, usually pour cereal. Your first novel was sincere, though some would say wan, autofiction. Your second is avant-garde, or was avant-garde, experimental. This one, an erudite pastiche that requires no knowledge of Shakespeare for the reader to enjoy, but that a reader of Shakespeare will love to discover nonetheless. Today, after cooking dinner, or did you order takeout? After spending time with your family and spending time with your wife, you walk downstairs, down the hallway, to the left, sit down at your computer to work on your third novel. You make some edits to a previously highlighted section and mark it off on your calendar. You insert a previously excluded chapter with a small bit of symbolic imagery that, after 5 minutes, you realize makes it ready for submission. You pour through it quickly, compare it to your outline, compare your outline to your first outline, compare it with what you originally envisioned this novel as being in your mind's eye. You see it is totally coherent, the prose having already been gone over with a fine-tooth comb countless times between the hours of 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., Monday through Friday, by you for the past 5 years. Nothing is amiss. Every little thing is done well in such a way that the very big thing, the novel itself, has been made as perfect as it should be, not as perfect as it could be, as this would obscure the aesthetic whole that is your third novel, whose architectonic was planned and measured and assembled purposively when you originally envisioned this novel in your mind's eye and compared it with what you currently had every night between the hours of 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. for the past 5 years. You save this document into your long project in progress DDMMMYYYY folder, update it with today's date, and rename the folder long project ready for submission DDMMYYYY. Save that folder to your cloud drive where all previous versions of your long project in progress DDMMMYYYY folder are saved. You turn off your laptop, a Lenovo ThinkPad. You flip it over. You retrieve a small screwdriver from your desk drawer and turn it 8 times on each screw of the backplate for 8 total screws for a total of 64 turns. You place each screw in a small orange and black glazed clay bowl that your eldest daughter threw for you in her high school 3D art class. You set the screwdriver directly to the right of your mouse pad. You remove the backplate and set it to the left side of your workstation. You grab a small multi-tool and unscrew the smaller screws of the hard drive, 8 turns for 2 screws, for 16 total turns. You place those screws in a small red and blue glazed clay bowl thrown by your youngest son in his middle school 3D art class. You remove the hard drive and place it in your right pajama pocket. You retrieve another hard drive from your second lowest desk drawer and replace it in the chassis. You remove one of the 2 screws from the small red and blue glazed clay bowl thrown by your son in his middle school 3D art class and secure the drive, 8 turns total. You do this again. You replace the backplate and remove a screw from the small orange and black clay bowl thrown by your daughter in her 3D art class and secure the backplate, 8 turns total. You do this another 7 times. You stand up and exit the office, walk down the hallway, to the left, to your kitchen, to the right, and remove the hard drive from your pocket and place it in your kitchen sink and turn it on for 10 seconds, wetting thoroughly. You remove the hard drive from the sink and walk across the kitchen to your microwave, open it, and then place the hard drive on the spinning glass plate. You hit 30 seconds, during which it emits mild glows as plasmic membranes occasionally ebb and flow across its surface without sparking. During this time, you pull out your phone, log into your cloud drive, and select all folders labeled Long Project-Initial Outlining, Long Project-In Progress, as well as Long Project-Ready for Submission DDMMMYYYY, and erase them. You then unsubscribe from this cloud storage service, and you cancel the email account associated with it. You create a new email under the same domain and sign up for the same cloud service using this new email under the same domain. Every morning for the next 5 years, you will wake up, cook breakfast, usually pour cereal, and eat. Then you and your wife will give each other a goodbye kiss before you both drive off to work. You with your son, since his middle school is on the way to your office, and your wife will drive alone because your daughter will be off at college and will then be a young professional, you hope. When your daughter is a young professional, you will work from 9 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. and arrive home at 6 p.m., cook dinner or order takeout, occasionally have dinner with your daughter, spend time with your son playing Switch, then probably basketball, sometimes spend time with your wife, and then you will walk downstairs into your office where you will sit and spend the next 60 minutes staring at your laptop screen as if you were performing surgery. Okay, that's it.
That was great. I love how like completely you captured the like drudgery of writing, right? Like you completely, there are all these like fucking romantic ideas that people have about what it is to be a writer and what the act of writing is. Like these like manic ideas, people just like get wired and then go bang away at the keyboard or whatever. And you just destroy that in this. You just perfectly capture how much of it is routine, how much of it is renaming the same fucking document over and over and over over again. Just really great. That was awesome, Sam. Thank you so much. Next up, I think Brandon, who's up next? Griffin, then
I believe Griffin, then Dawson,
Josh,
and
Dawson.
Josh. Yeah.
Okay. And also Eris wanted to.
And Eris has something.
Griffin, you had another piece to read?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, is this the one from today? I see.
This is the one from today.
Oh, okay. Well, let me link to that.
Here, I got it. I had it open. This is the visual of this one is important. So this was published on Misery Tourism today.
Wait, what was that? I don't think I've heard of that publication.
Never. Yeah, it's this obscure one. You
obscure.
probably haven't heard of it. It's, super underground. Okay, this is Demoted to Dwarf Planet. 2237, 4 years after the revolution. The provisional government has committed fully to a policy of de-Disneyfication, a purge of the remnants of the old regime. Cities are renamed, statues are torn down. A museum is made to hold some of them as a reminder of what we saved ourselves from. Most are just smashed in the streets. The few collaborators who escaped the prisons and firing squads cannot find work. Many are gene bonded to their costumes. The Peter Pans and Snow Whites are lucky. With hair dye and makeup, they can pass as human enough to stock shelves or flip burgers. Others are less fortunate. There is a Pluto who lives in my apartment building. She served 2 years, minimum security. I chat with her in the elevator, but not too often. She had a straight job, warehouse, night shift, for the first year, but some merchandise was stolen and management blamed her. Now she fucks men for money. She has her own corner and her regular customers. One of them is into bestiality. He pays her extra to bark and whine like a dog. Another is a veteran revolutionary, battle scars and muscles. He likes to degrade her. I hear him through the wall some nights. Sometimes I think I should check in on her, see if I can help. But I have to think of my reputation. I've hit it well. Scarred wing stumps, tucking my ears, platform shoes. But if anyone finds out I was a Tinkerbell, I'll be right out there with her.
So fucking good.
Such an amazing piece of world building. Maybe it's just because it kind of dials directly into shit that I'm neurotic about and obsessed with, but I just
you mean the upcoming Disney corporate state takeover of all human culture and society?
Yes, that. No, obviously, I mean, we fucking love this piece. Rudy loved this piece. I love this piece. It's just such a vivid and hilarious piece of maybe a little too feasible world building.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, Griffin.
I love that you can just tell how fucking excited you were to publish it. It's so cool.
Well, I mean, generally we're excited about the work we publish. Not all the time, but 99.9% of the time. When it's not something I'm excited about publishing it.
I never heard that kind of excitement about my work.
Well, what? Put on your sunglasses.
And by the way, Eris will appreciate that. I don't wear. I mean, these are folding Ray-Bans. I just feel like a California girl will appreciate that. I don't wear cheap shit.
Are they a prop for the reading you're about to do, or are they just?
That's just my vibe.
Okay. I think you're up next, so it's all you.
Sure, and I'm now disappointed in myself for even agreeing to do this because some of the things are right. Anyways, it's 4 things. The 4th thing is something I read here, but it's been slightly tweaked. The other things I don't think have been read. It's just poems and whatever. So the first one is snuff. Snuff. If someone wanted to make a snuff film of me, all they'd have to do is record my day-to-day existence. And then Glen Manor Drive. The lake is a color of blue that is almost spring, and I walk through the rich enclave by the beach as parents eye me suspiciously. Black Lives Matter signs hang in the windows of more than one well-kept detached home. Fuck yeah, activism, I think. Don't worry, I'm okay. I'll make you smile like the mass murderer before they've killed the exact number of people that they set out to. Do they do that? Maybe they just have a minimum, like a sort of quota or a quarterly target on a performance review. So that's what HR people are for. Something like that. I'll make you smile like the mass murderer right after they've killed the minimum number of people that they plan to. So what I'm saying is feelings are brutal. And then the last one is something I read before, but I've changed it. Pantone matching system. Wonder what Pantone would name the shade of yellow that my piss is on the third day of a bender. It's definitely my color of the year. That's the 4.
The HR serial killer poem, is that a new one? Was that written?
Yeah, I haven't read that. It's old, but I haven't read it here.
Oh, okay. That's a really good one. That's hilarious. That also has powerful you energy. But no, those were all very funny as usual. I've said this a million times, but I love how you take like mundane day-to-day shit and find like the bleakest and funniest possible interpretation of it. Maybe because like it to some degree like mirrors the way I see the world too, like where you're just like constantly like looking around you for a punchline, and usually it's you know.
Well, William, that's why we're best friends.
That's exactly.
I had a quick question actually though about this stuff, and it was with the Pantone matching system. So, I'm a real estate typically reporter by trade, and so I was writing a lot about interior design. So, with the Pantone matching system, I think the poem is funny and it works if you know what that is. And I'm really reluctant to it's like kind of thing with a joke. If the joke is good, you don't have to explain it too much.
Yeah.
But the Pantone the Pantone color guide is a very specific thing. So I'm wondering, because I want to include it potentially in a collection, is it worth a glossary reference like this, Pantone? Because I think the poem is funny, but only if you know what Pantone is.
Just the briefest sentence, so that people know that it's like tiles for matching paint and shit, right? Like a designer's type
Exactly.
thing.
That's what it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't want to include it in the poem. Like I like to just let it. You know what I mean? Like a.
Yeah.
Read it again.
It's poem, not narrative. Yeah.
Can you read it again? Let's workshop it.
Sure. Pantone matching system. Wonder what Pantone would name the shade of yellow that my piss is on the third day of a bender. It's definitely my color of the year. Because, every year they come out with they say this is the color of the year. And so it's like, is it too inside jokey? I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like
girls will get it because it's used at Sephora all the time.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
What if you threw in like a past color, like millennial pink or something like that?
I was thinking about that. That was one way I was thinking about it. Okay. That was the only way I felt. But then if so, do I need to? I don't know.
Like your piss could be the new millennial pink.
It is, I like to think, but yes. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But Eris is now saying that maybe the Pantone thing is more widely known than I even thought.
Yeah.
I feel like any adult's going to know what the Pantone system is or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. That's why I love Michel Houellebecq is obsessed with mentioning brands, and it's never just a car in his books. It's always like a very specific model of Volvo or something.
P1800. Yeah, like in a poem, like someone who knows Volvos would know what a P1800 was. and you feel good because you're reading the poem and you fucking know, and that's like linking. Yeah, and if they don't know what a Pantone is, fuck them anyway. The poem still exists anyway.
Google, just Google,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's what I was going. Google is exactly what I was going to say. I think that in some ways sometimes it's actually more enticing when you read a piece of poetry or fiction and there's some part of it you don't quite get. I mean, because that drives you, as long as it's like well written enough and not so opaque that you have no idea what you're reading. I think that kind of drives you to engage with it even more, because I don't know like how many times I've had to read like a Nabokov book in front of the computer because I have to like Google one word out of 30 or
Yeah,
whatever,
like,
you know? And that like makes it more endearing, I think.
I like where this is going, because so this poem is like something Nabokov wrote, is my takeaway.
Well, Nabokov is my go-to. If I'm saying something, if I make a comparison to Nabokov, that's the highest compliment you can get, as you know by this point, I'm sure.
And Nabokov is in your 4th house, and then misery tourism is the.
By the way, who is the bitch? I'm saying bitch affectionately. Who liked the Hampson thing, William? You brought me into that little thing. Like we were on Twitter the other day about Hampson.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I do. But it's kind of escaping me who it was. Someone. Oh, it was Dan. Dan Cross, we've published him a few times.
Yeah.
I had made some comment. No, you know what happened? Eris, you found a suicidal post I made on Twitter 2 years ago. And you replied to it, drawing more attention to it. And
I'm such a gem. I love myself.
And then Dan replied to that and was recommending some books. And one of those books was Hunger. And then I tagged you, Josh, because I knew what a fan of Hunger you were.
I wanted to know, actually, William, as that came up, and I didn't want to go on that, and this will be the last. I feel like I'm hogging things. Did you read Mysteries by Hampson?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
It's one of the three.
It's a bit more.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go on.
I've read Hunger, I've read that, and I've read Growth of the Soil. It was my least favorite of the three that I've
read. Really?
But I understand it's one of his earlier works too. And
yeah.
I also kind of wonder if the failure was partially in translation. Like I feel like with Hunger and with Growth of the Soil, where you have like these like classic pieces, like they go all out to make sure that the translation is good. I had the inkling that I was reading a not spectacular translation.
In Growth of the Soil, though, the conclusion is literally like everything is the fault of the Jew and the Yankee. Like that's actually the conclusion. I actually felt that Mysteries was, and it was Henry Miller's favorite novel. So the translation that you might have read was probably the one. I don't know. I just thought it was I thought it was a little bit more refined, but I don't know. I very much enjoyed it.
But Soil won the Nobel Prize, though.
Yeah, but it also credited again, or rather, ended with the idea that the Jew and the Yankee.
You should check out Pan, William.
Who? Sorry, what was that?
Pan. It's his short one. It's 80 pages.
I have
okay,
not read
I
it.
definitely will.
Where'd it go? Jesus. Oh yeah.
Definitely will.
I haven't read it yet, but I have it right here.
So
yeah.
I've yet
to. Great. It's great.
Oh damn. Okay.
I like his romantic stuff. I mean, he's done romantic stuff. Like Hampton's actually interesting because he's varied. He does the dirty realism and the early modernist stuff, but he's actually also quite romantic. One of the romantic books he wrote was, I have it here. Oh no!
Nobody else is shit.
I read Pan. Pan was the romantic one. This is Victoria. I don't know if you've read Victoria, but I read Pan, and Victoria is from the same era. Sorry, my mistake.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check out Pan, especially if it's a shorter one. I really have to trying to get back into the habit of reading here. I don't know, it's been a rough fucking winter.
But remember when your computer exploded?
That was a year ago. That was in June now that my computer exploded. So it's been a rough number of months. Anyway, I know Dawson wanted to read next, but I think we lost him. Dawson, are you still with us? I don't see you in the chat here.
This
Eric,
Somali.
huh?
The Somali. He keeps disappearing.
Oh, Eris, you had a link or something you wanted to share? If you want to do that now, while we wait to see if Dawson returns. If not, maybe he'll sign up for next week. Oh, it's a new piece by you, huh? Published in Joyless House. You don't want to read it tonight, though, huh? You can't be talked into reading it.
Read it.
You can't be peer pressured into reading it. She's not unmuting her mic, so
I'll transfer you drugs.
I'm not going to peer pressure her into reading.
What? I just wanted to say, if you want the whole video of what that image is a still from, I'll link it.
Okay. You know what I'll do, Eris? I will link this piece in the Twitter thread for tonight, even if you don't read it. So if people go back and look at the Twitter thread, they can at least read it.
Yay!
Okay. I don't see Dawson here. Did anyone else want to read before we kind of close up shop for the night?
When's the part when I show my Hot Wheels?
You know what, Josh? Do you want to close us out by showing us some of your Hot Wheels?
Well, if you ask, then you shall receive. But you know what?
Wait, where is your Hot Wheels hat?
Oh shit! Okay, 1 second. I think it's fucking pretty sick. Actually, it's like a 5-panel, which is I've been told that like I dress like a dad. Like I'm so old now that like how I dress, like I haven't changed how I dress. I got it in the Lemon short story. I don't change. I literally do only wear American Apparel boxer briefs, Levi's 510 skinny jeans, and certain cuts of T-shirts from American Apparel or literary.
Fictional character.
That's it, and it's like a you know, and so I don't adapt to change, and so yeah, this hat's sick, but actually, I prefer Matchbox to Hot Wheels. So if you'll notice, these are like they're pretty realistic. The black one, that's a Plymouth Savoy, okay? That's insane. Why would they make that car? They're not making like. This isn't like a popular car. Why would they do that? That's nuts. It doesn't even make sense from a capitalist perspective, right? Like, why would you make some fucking bizarre car like that? Doesn't matter. You know why? Because they're artists. Because they're true artists. They don't give a fuck about what you want. Likewise with this. Now I'm going to open up, and this will be the last. Look at this. This is a fucking Buick Regal. You know how nuts that is? That they made a Buick Regal? That's not even attractive. What child is going to appreciate a fucking miniature Buick Regal?
Baby of a pimp or a hoe, man. They know those.
Yeah, that's
They
beautiful.
know a Plymouth Regal.
I don't know. I just find it, you know what? I find it intellectual is what I find it.
I think what you're saying about when they, why would they release a model that never even went out and what it has to do with capitalism? I read an article about the Transformers and Bumblebee and whatnot, and how what they, it's like brand loyalty where you get kids idealizing a car and they grow up to buy that car.
Yes, no, and I hate it because I'm a cyclist, right? Like I bike around Toronto. Like I hate cars. I don't have a license, although I am buying a 1991 Cadillac soon with my entire life savings, but that's another story to be told. But like I don't like cars. I'm a cyclist. I'm like progressive, and yet, you know what? Maybe I'm victim to this. You know what? Yes, I'm a victim. I'm a victim to the advertising. That makes sense. I'm always a victim. Everything around me is trying to injure me and victimize me, and I'm not complicit in anything. Very good point that you raised with
Where
that.
do you live?
I live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah.
What street?
I don't care from dogs. I live at Main and Gerard. I live in a sketchy area. They
Guys,
actually,
be careful. This is going up on YouTube.
no, my landlord installed floodlights because people were shooting up in the building.
Somebody's gonna come after you for those Hot Wheels, dude.
I have some valuable ones. Like, it's just, yeah, it's not.
Wait.
And also, last one.
Okay.
So, but this, the Land Rover Defender, like, look at that in the British racing green. That's a nice. Look at that.
That's an attractive little car.
Yeah, that's a good car.
Nobody
I gotta
gets
say,
it.
Josh, I approve of that car.
I am on the way to being an incel, but you know what? Whatever, because the Somali is coming, and he will make everything better. Wait, this is still being recorded.
We're still recording. I'm sure you're talking about the pizza guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, you have to tell me, Josh, though, you said you had some valuable ones. What's your most valuable Hot Wheels car?
Oh, as a child. Can you wait
Wait,
2
what?
seconds? So hold on.
Sure, yeah, we can wait.
Yeah, I'm getting it.
Well, there's most valuable to him, and then there's most valuable, like, list price.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean
No.
market value.
So my mom is really, like, sexually attractive. So
I'm old, man. I'm 45. Hook us up.
so growing up, there were always men trying to be with her, and this one man gave me his collection when he was a kid. So I have all these really nice condition, like, fucking dinkies from, like, when he was a kid, and he was, like, her age. So these are, like, things from the 70s. I've posted them on the Hot Wheels Reddit, and they're like, "Oh my God, you have this?" It's, it's like, it's simple stuff like this.
That Hot Wheels envy.
This is from the 70s, and they're
Shit.
and it has this opening thing. And it's not even super valuable, but it's probably worth like $30-40. They're a dollar toy. They're always a dollar toy. He got me that.
Did you ever have key cars, little key cars, like where they have a spring mechanism and you put the key in the back of them and then they shoot out?
No.
Yeah, I know. That was from, like, when I was in 5th grade or something like that. That was a long time ago, like in the mid 80s. They were fucking rad though. Like they were quick. And it was just a spring mechanism.
I guess my mom wasn't hot enough to get those, but she got some other ones though. And yeah, so that's most valuable though. And also I have a ton of anyways. But yeah, that's that. It's a nice thing. Like I said, it's just, like, nice to hold something that's supposed to be a lot bigger in your hands and have it be a lot smaller. I just find that satisfying. It could be anything. But
Thank
that's
you,
just
Josh.
me.
What about what do they call them? Grimoires, those micro novels that they used to make, where you could have, like, the Bible in the size of a cracker or something like that.
Oh, the Wan Little Husks?
We're never going to get over the wrong little husk thing.
Honestly, Joyce Carol Oates, fuck her. Like, you know what? Eve Babbitts is of the era, and Eve, I don't know if any, I'm sure some of you know Eve Babbitts. That's the bitch. That's who you want to be if you're gonna have that view. Like, Joyce Carol Oates, who gives a fuck what she thinks? Did she even write one?
What is she famous for?
Yeah, exactly.
You guys better put some respect on that name.
It's like
Eris.
having a really long name. Like even
Eris.
I have that.
Eris, have you read Eve Babbitts though?
No.
I feel like she's your precursor, not in a patronizing way.
Oh
but
yeah, no, Eris would love you, Babbitts. I bet
she would. Okay, so I gotta
Oh,
send something
good.
once your book arrives, because that's Eris if Eris were a boomer.
So
You guys have a volunteer to read.
That's not a
Dad.
problem at all.
No. But now she's a boomer. But how she wrote when she gave up writing. She wrote in her 20s and 30s and she gave it up, is what I'm saying. But now she's old. Now she's a boomer.
William, what are you saying?
I think I'm going to shut this down now. I'm going to keep the Zoom chat up, but I'll
There's
stop
William,
recording.
there's somebody else
There
who
are
wanted to
people in the
read.
chat that want to read.
Oh, there are people in the chat that want to read?
Yeah, Troy.
Oh, shit. Okay, I guess we're going to keep going for a little while.
Yeah.
Troy and anyone else?
You sure it's not that the YouTuber?
Graham might read too, huh?
Yeah, I think Graham wanted to read.
Okay, we'll keep
I'll
going.
read.
Troy, you're up next, and then Graham.
All right, cool. Good to go?
Yeah, it's all yours.
All right. So I'm just going to read this little first part of the Visions, which just was reissued, if that's cool. And I wrote it like so long ago, I don't even really remember it. So bear with. That day, the first day, she didn't believe me. It would be another 3 years before she finally would, and then only after she was dead. I knew she'd be in the kitchen. She was always in the kitchen. She was cooking grits in a small pot and had the radio turned up, listening to the old-timey music she liked to listen to. I tugged on her arm to pull her away. She was 33, still young, still pretty, and still willing to listen. I was only 12 years old when I told her about the voices and the lights that came to visit me at night. She gathered her purse and keys and bus pass and told me to stay out of trouble while she was gone. There was this lake I used to ride my bike to. It was only about a mile from our apartment at the edge of town. I liked to ride my bike out there and think long and hard about the world around me, the images and feelings which consumed me. Never learned much, just sort of sat there and wondered what it meant to be a boy with a dead dad. I took my shoes off and dipped my feet into the water. I felt the minnows down there darting around my toes. I pulled my feet out of the water and dipped my hands in. I held them under a good long while and waited. Then I felt this chill run through me and clamped my fingers together. One small fish out of hundreds was now writhing in my hands. I threw him on the bank and watched him flop. Then he was still. I looked skyward and picked him up and slowly lowered him back into the water. I massaged him a bit there until I felt some movement, and then I let him go. I went back home and cleaned the grits from the pot. I shouldn't have let them sit so long. I wanted to pray and fall asleep on the spot. I wanted to be visited. I wanted the strange voice to come and tell me that there would be a day when the world would be delivered, and that would be the day when we'd actually be born. And then there was Joe. Joe was the second person I told about the angels and the voices and the light. I thought he believed me too. He was a couple years older than me. He was the only other kid on the block. He told me once that he didn't care so much if his reputation was ruined for hanging out with me, even though my feelings got hurt. In that moment, I felt like I needed him more than I ever had before. I didn't know much about the Bible and such, and Joe told me he had been to church a few times and would show me some things. He didn't mind, but he didn't want his mom finding out. She would give him a long, hard whipping if she ever found out, he told me. So I went over there when she wasn't home. When I got there, he took me into his mom's bedroom. There was purple paisley wallpaper on the walls. I told him I thought it was cool. Thanks, he said, came with the place. And as he said this, he lowered his jeans and boxers to the floor. I started for the door, face flushed red, but he said, no, don't go. This is it. This is what I wanted to tell you. You said you wanted to learn about God and the Bible. Here it is, your first lesson. In the Bible, it says this is okay. In fact, it's a duty. I said, okay, because I believed him. Then he told me to take him in my hand. I did. It was so small and hard in my hand, it reminded me of the fish. Joe closed his eyes. He was breathing heavy. Within a minute or two, he made a face like dying. When I wiped my hand on the carpet, Joe screamed, damn it, don't wipe it off on the floor. And he stormed out of the room. He came back and wiped it up with toilet paper. On his knees, he looked up and he said, you can do it yourself. It feels amazing. Some guy my mom knows me taught me how. The only other person I told that summer was a girl named Marilyn. She lived in the trailer park near the elementary school. I met her one afternoon after straying farther into town than usual. She was hopscotching alone across the street from the school when I ran into her, the tree above her casting tiger striped shadows across her face. She was a cute girl too, 10 and a half years old, with long hair down her back, all blonde and in a ponytail, and she seemed to cling to every word I spoke. I told her everything from the visions to the grits to the fish to my hand on the floor. She listened and nodded, didn't offer words of advice or approval, didn't even smile. And it was nice because it let me know she was really listening. That's when I did it. I finally got the courage to ask her something I'd been wanting to ask somebody for as long as I can remember. What's it like having a dead dad? I asked her. She shrugged, let her eyes fall to the ground, and once again spoke in silence, kicking her foot into the sidewalk and tracing a circle into the dust with her toes. Please, I need to know. Her eyes came up to connect with mine, then she frowned, not missing nothing. I couldn't stop thinking about the awful things he must have done. After that day, though, I stopped thinking about my own dad because I finally realized that he had always been there with me. I just couldn't see him. I was my own dad, and he was me, and we were one and not alone and never had been, not once ever. That night, Mom cooked up the other fish I caught. We ate it with white rice. We were always filling up on rice in those days, grits and rice, anything that stick to our ribs. We ate on a new tablecloth she brought home from work. I didn't notice it at first. I tried to make it up to her by being overenthusiastic when I did. Look at that blue, I said. Where'd you get it? It's not blue, she said. It's teal. She smoothed out a small area on the cloth with her hands and told me she'd gotten it from a guy at work. Told her he had bought a new one for his wife and thought he'd bring the old one to his favorite waitress. When she was telling me about it, she kept fidgeting with her hands beneath the table. I wondered what he looked like. I could tell she liked him. I wanted to ask her if she liked him, if she thought he was father material, but didn't. I cut into the fish and took a bite, swallowed it down with some water. Must be a nice man, I said. Mom didn't say anything. I watched her for a minute. It was weird. It was as though she had lost herself inside that strange color, moving her hands in small circles over the table. All right, that's it.
Wow, that was wonderful. That was brutal and beautiful and just wonderfully written. You said that's from a book called Visions. Is that a short story collection or is it a novel that you?
Yeah, it's a novel.
Is it available?
It came
somewhere?
out on like Broken River books like 2015 and just got reissued through Apocalypse Party.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you have a link to it? You should drop it in the chat and I'll put it up on Twitter. And if you don't mind putting your Twitter handle in the chat, I'll tag you in the post.
All right, cool. Thank you.
That was incredible. Thank you so much for reading.
Thanks.
Graham, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Hey, Graham, how's it going?
It's good. Can you want to vamp for a bit? I got to figure out what to read.
Yeah, no problem. Just let us know when you're ready.
Oh wait, Graham just accepted my thing for X-ray, didn't he?
Yeah, it's fucking good. It's about the cars.
Thank you. I know we got to work out the ending a bit. I'm gonna now move my fortress away. But I've been trying to get into X-ray forever. I'm glad you appreciate it. I know we got to work again. It's a little bit to be done, but I'm so flattered and thankful and a fan of your stuff too. So this isn't sucking up because I say the most offensive shit always. So if I'm not saying it to you, it's true.
Well, thank you. And also, I like the piece. I didn't know that you hadn't been. I guess I knew that you hadn't been in there because it didn't have the past contributor tag. But I don't know what it's about.
They do the thing.
Yeah,
they note it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But also, yeah, I don't know. I'm not good at editing yet, so I still don't know how to do it. I just like the story. It's a kind of about cars, about the
No, but I like that we agreed that, the ending for me that was the one I sent it. Now, to be honest, I was drunk and high and I sent it because I was just like, I've been rejected by this place so many times. Sending it.
Well, no, it worked. I'm the same with Hobart. I feel like I've talked about that to a lot of people. I've not gotten into them. They're like,
yeah, I actually, and once you get in, it doesn't change. So they were actually a dream journal for me, and I got in like pretty early in when I started writing short fiction again, and then got rejected, and it was a shock when I got published, and then I got, it's there's no explanation, but I like it. A lot of people don't. I love rejection because I think that I am horrified when I think of if the possibility of a lot of what I write just got accepted. That's really not what I want out there, actually. I actually think it's like a good part of the process to have that. If you really believe in a specific piece, I can get it being frustrating, it not being published. But in general, I think it's very good to have someone be like, wait a minute, are you sure?
Yeah. So the thing that the Tank Museum piece, I sent it to Gay Death Trance. I don't know how long ago, but BBDB didn't want it, and then today sent me a message saying that he liked it, and that kind of was kicking himself. But it's different. It's a different piece, and it just was cool. It was a cool message because I don't know. I think it is better as it is in this version, but I also wonder how people feel about that when they see a piece that they're like, no thanks.
Right. So you changed it between when you submitted it there and when it got accepted?
Yeah. It didn't have a frame around it. It didn't have it wasn't as clear that it was a character in a space. It was just kind of the rant.
Well, I did enjoy it, and I have an interesting relationship with BBBB because he did suspect that the Dave Twitter account, he said it was a Rogan boomer. He compared me personally to that Rogan book pedophilic poet,
Yeah.
and a boomer.
Yeah.
All in one. But you know what? I like him so much as a poet, and I really do. I have his book on my shelf that I was honestly flattered to be deeply insulted by a writer I admire.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I felt good to get denied by him too, so I like that as well.
Yeah, it's a bit different, but you know what I mean.
Troy, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you care if I read some stuff from the project?
No, man. No, go for it.
All right. I just don't have a lot of other stuff, and I'm getting, I don't know, I'm getting tired of liver mush, so I wanted to read some other stuff.
No, yeah, that shit rips. So.
And sorry, I didn't want to, but just Troy, I didn't actually realize that it was you, but I admire your writing a lot. I have a few more of these where this came from, but just, dude, I think we DM'd before. Anyways, just I really admire your writing, and it's cool to hear. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna read a poem thing. I'm sorry I'm being gross. I'm eating dinner.
It just adds atmosphere.
It's a cheesesteak. It's really good. I got cheese, mayo, ketchup, hot sauce. I'm gonna read a poem about murder in California. And then after that, I want to read a poem about murder in Colorado. That sound good to everybody?
Hell yeah.
Sounds good to me. Always like murder poems.
All Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. No, it's good. This is actually good. California. I'm getting older. I'm gonna die here. If I don't say anything, it will never be said. Angel. I'm no fool, but when a man offers you a ride, take it, goddammit, and say thank you. Trust me, kid. Ex-Air Force, Vietnam, honorable discharge, grew up around here. It doesn't matter if you're queer. When a man offers to help a fellow out, you say thank you. I know whoever took him wanted a little boy to love. I know you won't hurt him. Not applicable. I'm a pair of lungs hanging below the new hem of my gut. I am tickled by nylon rope holding shag fiber and pubic hair. I'm the public air on my naked flesh. I am hot plastic sweat and faux condensation. I am rivers of summer heat and a scandal of pre-orgasm. I am an empty porcelain cup of my missing self. I am the coyote enemy kissing the place my thoughts lived. I am found and never found, hiding in the key of sunlight. I am a birthmark on the monolith of my absence. I am giving birth to the memory my mother knew from birth. I am the ideal idea of a son swaddled in trash bags. I am the glistening desert gem. The scout leader shows his troop. I am an infinite gift of feeding ants. I am a duffel bag of organs that cannot be carried. I am a slab of marble in its final form, chiseled to perfection. My being is a blanket wrapped around a spine. I am an apple core, a crushed can, a condom wrapper, a used tissue, a flushed toilet, a skid mark on the highway. I am buried like air in a room, a presence nowhere all at once. But I like the soft grass around this little trail. I like the way the water smells somewhere far off I can't imagine. I don't think it's cruel, and I don't think it's unusual. It happens all over the world. This is a haiku. A good little nightmare. Bunched sleeves of his light winter coat, he watches me cradle the boy. So that was all of California. And Colorado is here. Yeah, all right. Colorado. I have a 12 gauge shotgun. I have an AR-15. I have 2 Glocks. I wired my apartment with explosives. There's smoke powder and napalm. These are diversion techniques. When the neighbors open the door, the building will collapse. When a neighbor finds the toy car, the building will collapse. When the police trip the wire, the building will collapse. I have a gas mask. This is to keep me from watching people die. I have a tactical vest. This is to keep me from being killed. I have over 6,000 rounds of ammunition. This is to kill as many people as possible. I have an equation with no answer. I have an iPod turned all the way up. I will listen to infected mushroom. This is to keep me from hearing their deaths. If I hear their deaths, I may stop killing them. I am the pulse of the track. I will become powerful from their deaths. I am possessed by something other than myself. I have to be different from myself in order to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this to solve the equation. The equation is the problem of unlimited value. The equation is the problem of any value. The equation is the problem of negative value. There is no such thing as value. All value is negative value. There is only death. Death is the only value. I have bulletproof pants. I have a crotch guard. These are to keep me from being killed. If I am killed, I cannot kill. If I kill everyone in the world, I can solve the equation. If I don't make eye contact, it isn't really killing. If I can't hear them die, I can keep making them die. I have road stars if a chase ensues. I can throw the road stars out my car window. The police cannot arrest me if they hit the road stars. I can continue killing if the police are stopped by the road stars. I am not inherently evil. This is plan B. Plan A was to live a happy life. Plan A was to understand the way my brain worked through neuroscience. I could not understand how my brain worked. I have felt little to no empathy since I was a child. I have contemplated the value of human life for the last 10 years. I have contemplated killing other people for the last year. I am depressed because I do not have a purpose. If I increase my worth, I will decrease my depression. To increase my worth, I must kill people. I cannot kill my friends. My friends are real people. If I kill my friends, I will be arrested and stopped. If I am stopped, I cannot kill enough people. I have to kill people who aren't real people. I have to kill crowd people. Crowd people aren't real people. Killing crowd people will increase my worth. Killing crowd people will decrease my depression. I am bad news bears. I am beyond all help. I shouldn't be around anyone. If I destroy all life, there is no question about the meaning of life. There are no absolutes. I am 90% depressed. I can imagine a future when I am 50% depressed. Well, I will be less depressed when I kill the people I need to kill. There's no reason to live. There is nothing to do that is worthwhile. I am bored. I have four 2-liter bottles of Sprite filled with gasoline. They will help me set my room on fire if the police enter my apartment. I did not clear my internet history. I have nothing to be ashamed of except not doing this sooner. I keep pulling my hair out. I'm not ashamed about pulling my hair out. I am not ashamed about wanting to kill people. I don't tell people I want to kill people because they might stop me. It might prevent me from solving my depression. I have a few biological problems. I tried to make up for them by being smart and through neuroscience. My eyes are bad. I need glasses. My ears are bad. I do not need hearing aids, but I might someday. For a year, I chewed all food on the right side of my jaw. I have not yet chewed food on the left side of my jaw to even it out. I have obsessive tendencies. I cannot stop the thoughts I have. The thoughts will not go away once I have them. I have an allergic reaction to sex. I masturbated until skin fell off my cock. I read about the most beautiful woman in the world. It isn't noticeable. I can correct my biological problems by killing others. They will go away if I kill enough people. I can't explain it anymore. I don't know what else to say. That's all.
Wow, those were fucking phenomenal. Both of them were extremely good, but the second one in particular really lends itself, I think, to being read and was just fucking riveting. I mean, like the depth and complexity that you give this character. I mean, these kind of guys, these spree killer types, are usually like reduced to like 5 or 6 quick cliches, right? By the media, by coverage, by like the discourse. And you get so deep inside this guy's fucked up head, and it's just incredible. And the chat's been going wild about this piece, so you should read it. But no, that was incredible. Thank you so much for reading, Graham.
Yeah, no.
Fuck, dude.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I got some work to do. That was fucking amazing.
I'm so pumped, man.
So are you guys allowed to say anything about this project you're working on that these are a part of, or is this still confidential?
It's up to you, Troy. What do you think?
Well, I mean, yeah, we're writing a book together about killers.
Awesome.
In, like each state.
So it's
basically like
50
each state is a chapter. And I don't know. That's
awesome.
really it.
I'm really eager to see the finished product here because that little like taste we got is just amazing. So really,
and that's what's crazy. Like I'm like, fucking Graham hasn't shown me that shit yet. So like I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, we've been just working on it. We worked on like a couple ones together. Well, I guess we did like one or two the A's. I think we like traded back and forth, and then since then we haven't really traded.
Yeah, we're just like, let's generate the shit and then like edit.
Yeah.
So. Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Graham, for sharing, and thank you, Troy, for sharing. And I'm really looking forward to see this thing in its finished state. So I don't think we have anyone else who signed up to read for tonight or who wanted to read. And it's like 10:30 now. So I think I will wrap up the reading portion of this. I'm going to leave the Zoom call up for a little bit if people want to bullshit or whatever. But If you're watching this at home on YouTube, I guess no matter what, you're watching it at home because nobody's allowed to leave their fucking homes. But if you're watching this on YouTube, this has been Misery Loves Company. You should check us out, follow us at Misery Tourism, or go to miserytourism.com. We do this every fucking week, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Maybe stop by sometime. We post the link to the Zoom call right on Twitter, so all the trolls can find it. Okay, anyway, fuck it. That's it.